Hello gamers, welcome back to another video. Today, I'll be making a kind of a different one, a comprehensive guide to 1v1s based on my approach to them. I run lots of different tanks. You don't see my 1v1s on the channel, but they are there. And, well, I mean, there's one of them on there, but more importantly, every week, behind the scenes, I run those all the time. I don't make videos on them because they're kind of boring to watch and can be a little tedious when there's lots of no-shows and lots of waiting and you don't have friends to hang with like in the 1v1 in the 2v2 and 3v3 tournaments, whatever the larger format tournaments you see more on the channel. We show some of my favorite videos to play, to make and to show on the channel. And so the main reason you should play tournaments is the gold. The gold is insane, but there's more than just gold for these 1v1s. There's also free XP. If you take first place on say the Sunday at noon, it's a Sunday noon tournament every single week. It alternates tier 10 and tier 9. Every single week you can get 1,000 gold and 10,000 free XP. That is huge. That's huge. So that's how I don't grind new tank lines. I get tier 10 slower, but I do have a decent amount of the important ones. And I also have gold to spend on premium days. Now, I wouldn't normally spend that much, but there was a Verizon deal on premium days. Also, the Battle Pass, I haven't really needed to buy any because of the Battle Pass. And as you can see, I'm getting close to the next tier, so this 3,000 gold here I have will be soon used up as I prepare for the next chapter of the Battle Pass. So, when I first started doing tournaments, I had Super Pershing, and that was it. The only premium tank, the only money I spent was a Super Pershing. I used to grind credits. I was trying to play competitive. I was grinding my 277. I really wanted to get into a competitive clan, so I grinded my 277, and then it was so slow and so hard to do that. And then I realized every time I play it, I just lose tons, and I'm not even running food yet. Like, how can I make this work? And that was when I realized I just had to play enough tournaments to maintain a premium account. You need a premium account to play competitive. If you don't have one, you can still do it, but I don't really want to contemplate what that looks like. I've heard stories that does not sound at all fun. So 1v1 tournaments, definitely do them. Now, real quick, there are three key components to a 1v1 tank. DPM, mobility, and speed. Now, this is sort of a good representation over here of what it means. You want to get hardening to boost your HP, turbo to boost your speed, and HP, and sorry, a rammer to boost that DPM. DPM kills tanks faster. It's all about killing the enemy before they kill you. There's not much positioning, not much strategy involved. It's you get into the enemy's face, you beat them by sheer force of will with your better tank. A lot of it comes down to your tank selection. If you bring a Super Conqueror to your Tier 10 tournaments, you're doing very well. And, with 3,500 DPM, you're not exactly winning any DPM contests, but if someone has more DPM than you, chances are you are better equipped to kill them because you have 2,720 HP. That's a huge difference. Now, additional 80 with the standard, with field mods. That's incredible. So, if anything can be faster and you have more DPM than you can outlast it, which makes up for that worse DPM. And you have the armor. The armor hit harder, they bounce too. And you also have okay speed, so no matter what, with a Super Conqueror on any map, you can do fine. Cliff is a little tricky, but work that out. So think about tanks like a Super Conqueror. So at 2.9, the standard Conqueror, you can even run the small gun, and that has bad pen but insane DPM. There was one round in the June 2v2 I ran, dominating 2v2 tournaments. I made with the gangster. I played with him back in June. I ran my phase 1 and he ran his concept, and we got absolutely destroyed by a conqueror and a concept running the Conqueror running the small gun. And then also, of course, at tier 8, the Carnarvon. Also that same principle, very, very strong. You saw that in my rather unsuccessful clutching tournament videos in the end of June. But those kind of tanks, if you're looking to kind of get premium account time, you don't have a lot, slog through those Churchill tanks. I know they're as bad as they sound, and just focus on those three tanks. The Carnarvon, the Conqueror and the Super Conqueror, and they really won't do you wrong. A lot of the battle is knowing the tank you need, like finding the tank you want to have before the battle starts, and preparing it so when you go into battle, you're prepared to win. That is one of the most important things. You do not want to show up with 7:05 a.m. mines. Okay, it's one of those ones that teams I laugh at, and we just win, or I just win, depending on the format. So with all that being said, grind your conquerors, get ready, use other tanks that are similar, and get ready to experience 1v1s, grind lots of gold. And now I'm going to transition into showing you some of my tough games and how I work through and how I play the different tanks at different tiers in my 1v1 tournaments. With all that being said, let's jump into some games. Alright, so, one mine's in my trusty T95 E6. This is before I change my loadout around. I am facing up, this is a tough matchup. A Chieftain, and not only that, but he is an NHF player with a 279E. He definitely is better than some of the Chief players you see rolling around these days. So, what am I gonna do? Well, I have way better DPM, and I am faster. So, I'm wanting to engage as quickly as possible. So, I think about, do I want to go to mid or whatever, and then try and catch him as he's crossing to do this and shoot him when he's here. But then I believe I begin to start that way. I think I could make a decision to turn to go to the hills. Actually, no, I think I should commit this time. But we'll kind of end up seeing that necessarily was not necessarily the smartest play. Honestly, getting a good position back here or back here for south is very important. So I just dump over the mid. I'm looking to see where he is kind of in this direction. But he's already kind of around the corner. So what do? Sorry, I'll jump into um, non-free camera so you can see how I'm playing. I have heat loaded, which is kind of good, kind of bad. Then I spot him. He's making actually a smart play. I have to wait. I need to make sure with heat I'm aiming in the right spot. So I switch over to HPCR. Now this tank has a ammo rack issue. However, I have multiple pieces of equipment that help with that and field mods. Well, really, it's field mods. So I track him once. That's a disaster, okay? He has more HP up, but I have HP loaded. It's more than enough, and I'm just making sure my shells count. He's only 100 HP above me. I can make up this difference, okay? I fire again. Now he's at the 700. I fire faster. I guess I'm only really maintaining. It's kind of funny. I'm actually only really gaining, each time I'm still maintaining about the same amount. However, this last show, I actually track. This is where this chieftain is just going to win. However, I think he was ammo racked. I think I had finally ammo racked him. He is a chieftain after all. And in that case, that was a case of me playing my E6 in the one of the worst cases ever, and then coming out on top just because I made a mistake and he got ammo racked, and I had the tools to fix it, including things that reduce the penalty of ammo rack. So that was a nice quick game. Now on to the next. All right, this is actually one of I think the very next game against another very good player. This guy has a gold fist badge, which means that he has played in the clan playoffs or I believe the community league and plays very well. He's in Mahu, not as good as they used to be, but still a lot of good players hang there. And so this was a tough fight. Now, I end up changing my mind. I decide I'm going to take a strong position over here, which is definitely the better play. If you can control that cap, you can make a lot of good happen. You can make different plays that will get the job done. So, here, this is a very tough matchup because it's hard for me to catch him out, and then he has more HP and armor, so it's just gonna be really hard for me to come out on top. And my DPM is not so much better that I can come out on top over him. So I have to just try and make things happen. I can't cap before he gets there either. And as we're gonna learn, the E6 is not always the best tank. I really enjoy it. It's really cool. It has a connection because my early tournament days in 2019 when I first got all excited about playing in competitive play, when I was like a teal or a dark green player, I played my M48 patent. And I really believed in the superiority of that tank and played in tournaments, wanted to use it in Clan Wars too, if you can believe that. That changed once I saw the Chieftain and what it could do, and we all know how that ended. But right away, he I'm trying to strafe him. I'm trying to this something that key to keep in mind. I am trying to track him. My main objective here is to track him as much as possible. You see, I finally track him. I've been shooting his tracks constantly. I shoot his track again. It doesn't even track him. He must be running the hardening. He even catches me around that corner, if you can believe that. He is a very smart player. And then you see here, he's at 500 HP, and he just finishes me off. So there, he must have had the field mods that increase your track HP. I love field mods for tournaments, by the way. They're awesome. And they also had the uh HP booster. So he was really hard to track, which meant I couldn't pin him down and then play around his slow turret traverse and then kill him. Those field mods make heavies harder to exploit. So this is when I learned don't always run the E6. Alright, this was actually a tournament I ran last night as a recording. The Tanks After Dark one, as you can see on the banner here. This one was pretty late at night. I normally don't actually do this one. It's pretty late at night, but I didn't have enough clips, and this was, I wanted to make sure my video came out on time, so I made sure to stay out for that. So this is Steps, and it's a special open map, and after this tournament, I will never be running um, heavy tanks on this map really ever again in the 1v1 tournaments for most tiers because as you'll see in this clip, I can do a lot of cool stuff. I decide not to head over to Cap. I instead go up towards their spawn, towards his spawn. He's in a 277. Should actually do that so you can see it. Which is not a good 1v1 tank. Its DPM is lacking. I should also note that I switched up my equipment. I spent a lot of bonds. Oh, and as I said, you can see my view range is longer. It's larger, better view range. So I have bond rammer, bond vents, and hardening on this. I'll eventually get bond hardening and like maybe a bounty V stat for pubs. I don't know, but I definitely am glad I did that because I'm still fast, but now my view range is really good because I previously had some problems where I could get outspotted by later tanks, but he didn't even spot me, so he knows I'm somewhere in this region when I spotted him moving. So I expect it. Then suddenly he makes a huge, huge mistake. You can never take cat first on this map. It puts you down in this like in the low ground here in this like riverbed. And so I'm able to like look, okay, he's not on that side. He's probably right down in here. So I come over this way and there he is. So I aim, get a nice shot to his engine deck. So I'm on fire a little bit for a bit of extra damage. And then now I make a decision. I decide to go all in against this guy. I'm firing heat because 277s. Trying to aim for that engine deck, you have to be careful. There is a lot of spaced armor on it. So you see, I aim below that spaced armor to make sure I pen. He puts a good hit in, but again, he has big alpha, a lot of armor, a lot of speed, but he does not have DPM, which in a 1v1 really, really limits your ability to play. Your only real chance is face hugging an enemy tank and getting it so they can't pen. You see here, I think okay, no, I didn't actually mess up my shot. So you see there, I made sure to aim carefully at like the corners. If I aimed it like over here and then fired, I would bounce. But I pulled back further and put a shot into this part, which is angled towards me, and so I was able to get a shot in and kill him. That's why 277 is a meta tank, one of the most recommended tanks if you want to get involved in competitive play. But in a 1v1 tournament, it's just not viable. So I have one last clip for you today on steps. It was the final round of this tournament, and it was a good one. So let's jump into that. We're back for the final round for this video. I hope so far it's been pretty helpful. It's been, I kept having issues where the 1v1 rounds I played ended up new patch would come out and the replays from like a week before would be broken. So that's why I kind of needed to set for this tournament. This was the final round. It was like 1 in the morning, and I was pretty tired. And you'll see, it really comes into play at the end here. But this is another match against a Chieftain, and Chieftains are really hard opponents in this tank. But I would still much rather be in an E6 than a Chieftain because I lose in an E6 only if I don't play smart. I lose in a Chieftain against this tank if the enemy plays smart. It's hard for me to. I mean, I can play smart in a Chief too, but it's still hard to make that work. So this time, again, I'm not going straight to cap. I could take a rock position, but no, I want to, close the distance, get an early shot in maybe. shot into a side or rear, and then disengage, and then I start with more HP. Because I start down 130 HP against the Chieftain, which is not really that big of a deal. I think it means, yeah, he's hardening. He has hardening because I'd have more HP if he did not. And I decided I'm gonna come along this way. I love in tournaments. I love playing along this, like playing along that. In the winning in the last 3 seconds video, playing up here was like really awesome. It's my favorite part of this map is kind of playing those angles. So I'm looking, is he there? Is he there? Then right here I catch a glimpse of him. I shoot, but it's whatever. That's a tough shot to make. And now he's basically trying to pause a sec. He is trying to turn around, which takes a little while for a chieftain. He wants to poke this ridge here and then put a shot into me. So if I stayed around here or pushed forward, I would be at a disadvantage. So I end up going onto this hill around because I have a lot of mobility, more than he does, and then I come over the top. But I have to be careful because there's bushes here, and then I spot him. I'm trying to be careful, but I want to purposely try and get a quick shot in there, and then I pull back, trying to avoid his shot. He actually pushes forward a bunch and low roll, so I'm able to just push forward. And right there, if I had been firing heat instead of AP, I would have done better. Against chieftains, though, I prefer AP/APCR because there's a lot of you can do a lot. Unlike a 277, AP is fine for most of their tank, and so I'm just, able to put more shots into his tracks and stuff and work around that. He has a lot less HP than some of those super conquerors I'm facing. And, I'm consistently, at this point, I'm 200 HP higher than him, and I'm more DPM. Some reason, like, my brain messed up there. I'm now ahead. So, this is the kill shot and it must have gone wide, and I bounced it. So now I'm freaking out, going, "Oh no, he's gonna kill me!" He shoots my track. Got the kill shot. Oh no, I hit the ground instead. This is me. I was pretty sleepy. I was ready to go to sleep, so you definitely see that. But then, like the third time, I managed to put the shot in. He must have been so mad at himself because um, he had the win. I messed up my shot, and he messed up twice as well. So that kind of goes to show you what you can do, how mistakes happen sometimes, how it can be kind of goofy, but how also never ever give up. You always have a chance. So I hope you found this guide helpful. I hope it allows you to win more 1v1s, get more of that sweet goals and free XP.
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating.